two teenagers. I should be well versed in speaking loud, but I'm so happy to be able to introduce again my neighbor and good friend Tim Madden, and it's good to have him as our speaker today. You know, as neighbors, we tend to talk about family and kids and work projects, yard projects. So it will be good for me today as well to hear more about what he does at Purdue. But Tim has been serving since 2009 as the director of junior tennis at the Schwartz Tennis Center at Purdue. And I'll give a little bit of his background, and he may share a little bit more about that. But his career in tennis has actually spanned over 20 years. He got his bachelor's degree at the University of Wisconsin and was a three-time All-Big Ten player in tennis at the University of Wisconsin. And received a Big Ten Sportsman of the Year award in 1987 and 88. From the University of Wisconsin, he went on to the University of Michigan and served as the assistant tennis coach there while earning his master's degree in kinesiology. And then from 1994 to 2009, he served as Purdue University's men's tennis coach and had many good successes there, helped bring the tennis program at Purdue into a contender in the Big Ten Conference, and had a number of good successes with teams as well as individual players. So I am, again, very happy to introduce my neighbor and the junior tennis director at Purdue, Tim Madden.
Hello, everyone. If in the back you feel like, I'm not projecting well enough, you can't hear me, give me a thumbs up. I'm either going to think, hey, I like what I hear, or you need to talk louder. All right, I'm going to start. I want to thank Audrey for giving me the opportunity to come and talk to you a little bit about what we do at Purdue Tennis. And just sitting here, I have a good feeling about this group. You have a reputation that precedes you, amazing things you do for our community, but I didn't realize the voices were quite as boisterous and as exuberant as behind closed doors. This is the goofy group that I should have known, that I'm now becoming aware of.
We'll give you an application.
It is nice to be here. I want to tell you, time seems to fly. We have 20 years ago, I came to this community. Audrey told you a little bit about where I'm from. I actually grew up in the central part of Illinois, between Peoria and Springfield. Small town, less than 2,000 people, and tennis was not played there. So getting into this was a very interesting thing. Both of my parents were school teachers, which I think is a pretty good influence on why I choose to coach and teach today. When I think about coming to this, Purdue University brought me here. Many of you have ties to Purdue University, and it's a big part of our community. I actually, going through the years and thinking back as I'm coming to talk to you, for 15 years, coaching college players, a lot changed. Our sport is very international. Our community is very international. I see that every day with the kids I work with at the Schwartz Tennis Center at Purdue. And I think that's a wonderful experience for all of us. The diversity, the different ideas, the different cultures, it's just a wonderful thing. It's a big part of why I am still here. I can tell you 5 years ago, deciding that in Division I college athletics, as many of you know, high pressure, a lot of money a lot of money involved when we're talking about Big Ten Network and TV deals, and it all comes down to recruiting and winning. I decided it was 15 years, made a good run. Recruiting is more important than teaching the game now. I want to teach. There were about 5 key families that convinced me if I would stay and work with their kids and the friends of their kids and start a program here, because we had a new facility at Purdue, that we could continue to make this home. At the time, I thought, well, we'll give it a try. That's a nice idea. We'll give it a try. I really enjoyed my college coaching years. But I have to tell you, getting out of it, all that pressure cooker, it's refreshing to see the kids, the grandkids, friends. It's refreshing when a little thing is a big deal. And some of the examples that we've already talked about here this afternoon, that you all do to help our youth in our community, I get to do that on a daily basis. I love what I do. I love the sport of tennis. I feel like I can impact young lives in a very positive way. There are a few ways we do that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our tennis center first, and I'm going to get into some details about our kids because I'm really proud of them. We have gone from, when I started here 10 years ago, we were playing outdoor tennis where the co-rec or the turf building is now on campus. We went over to the Lafayette Tennis Center. Does anybody, not the Lafayette Sports Center now, does anybody remember the Lafayette Tennis Center? Red, white, and blue roof. We called it a circus tent. It was kind of funny. We went in and we played tennis in there as a varsity team. We practiced in there. We played in there. We knew it was time to move on when we hosted a Big Ten championship. Big Ten championships rotate to different institutions. We get to host back then it was 11 years. Now I guess it's 14 years. Soon to be 16, I'm sure. But back then, I remember going indoors for a Big Ten final. We're hosting. A couple of the teams are playing. Rain is coming down outdoors, and sure enough, the roof wouldn't hold. Rain is starting to come down indoors. It was a different time then. Since then, Lafayette Sports Center was built. We played there for years. And then we had an opportunity to build a tennis center on campus. There was a tennis family. Denny Schwartz, his wife was a tennis player. He's a Purdue alum from Mishawaka, South Bend area. Wanted to do something for Purdue and started a gift. Purdue Athletics matched that gift. The facility was about $7 million. And this was maybe 7 years ago, I guess now. Our tennis center, show of hands, has anybody been in the Schwartz Tennis Center? Very good, very good. Some of you have. It's an amazing place. Most people walk in now and they think, wow, this is brand new. It's an amazing facility. It's not necessary for our kids or our teams or development, but it's a proud place to be. The way we feel about our university, the way we feel about our community, we feel that way now about our home that we can go into every day. So I get to work with kids. I get to work in a wonderful facility. Tennis is a sport for a lifetime. That's the mantra that USTA puts out. I mean, tennis players everywhere know that. So no excuse for some of you if you haven't been on that tennis court getting active lately. You said you weren't a swimmer, but maybe tennis is your forte. We have 6 indoor courts, air conditioned, heated of course. Most tennis centers are not air conditioned. That comes in handy in the summer. We have 12 outdoor courts. 6 of them are lighted. It's open to the university. We get very busy. It's open to the public. And I would just bet a lot of you didn't realize that. Whether it's you, kids, your grandkids, it's open to the public. Come in and play. Outdoors is either free or very inexpensive, depending on the time of day, who you are, your affiliation with Purdue, etc. But it's a wonderful facility, and you're welcome to come over to look around or even play nearly any time. Now, we get so busy in the winter time when you can't play outside, all the tennis players seem to come in, that it is difficult to get a court. It's a good problem to have, but we do stay very, very busy. So after leaving the Lafayette Tennis Center, the Lafayette Sports Center, which was good to us for years, we built our tennis center. And we're able to host events, we're able to run programs, we're able to offer it open up to the community. It's quite a place to play. The youth programs is what I'm most involved with. I can tell you, we have over 500 kids each year that come through our building, come through our tennis courts. About 200 a week is what I see, what I work with. I keep very busy, needless to say. We have all ages, all ability levels, and we start them at 5 years old. Some parents ask me, can we start our kids at 3 and 4 years old? Oh. Yes, you can. You can start your kids. Please, get them out on the court and have some fun. But about 5 years old, we get them started with just some basic skills. Number one thing, let's have fun. We want them to play. We want them to have fun. Most parents get that. Some parents still don't. It's way too serious. And they want it more than their kids do. You know who I'm talking about. They want it more than their kids. But that's not healthy for our kids. So I feel like it's our responsibility to to help the parents, help the kids understand those things. I'm watching the French Open. I'm sure some of you, if you pay attention to tennis, one of our Grand Slam events is going on right now, the French Open. One of our American champions, Serena Williams, is still doing very well. I believe the semifinals now she's in singles. And I heard her interviewed afterwards, and she talked about her mentor, Billie Jean King, who always taught her pressure is a privilege. Pressure is a privilege. When you get good at what you do and you put everything into what you do, very competitive with it, a lot of pressure comes with that. In Serena's mind, everybody's out to knock her off because she is number one. And she feels it every day. But she goes in with the right attitude. And obviously it's paid off. Not to mention she's the strongest athlete I see out there. She's amazing. Hits that ball hard. There are a lot of great examples of champions out there. What I really like is when I get to see those champions at whatever level being developed as kids. So when we get into what we do with, like I said, about 200 kids a week, I can tell you our programs. And I sent out some of our flyers. You can see it really has an outline. We start at the top with our youngest kids, our lowest level ability. We work right down through the bottom. We call them drill clinics, first of all. It's organized practice with a focus. What we really want is we want the kids working together. So what we do is we work on things like leadership and teamwork. In individual sport, we work on teamwork. An example, in tennis, if any of you have tried to pick this up, when you start, it is difficult, very technical. You're picking up more balls than you're hitting at first. It's a good thing we have a big fence to keep those balls in, because sometimes they go flying out. But when those kids can work together and be good practice partners, really understand good teamwork, it benefits everyone. It's a major teaching tool that we can use in trying to get them, at a young age, trying to get them to be good practice partners for each other. This morning, my first group, 7 and 8-year-olds, we call them hot shots on that list. Our little hot shots. We have rookies, we have hot shots, we have aces, all these fun little names. The hot shots come out, and we do something called circle the square, just a little movement. And by instinct, some of those kids are so competitive, it's a race right away. And I want them to develop skills, athletic skills. But that competitive energy is in there. So we want to teach them, if you want to be a good leader, okay, this is what we're trying to accomplish. Instead of beating someone else, let's show teamwork, let's show leadership, and let's work together. One of the kids went down, took a tumble, went down right away. So I had an opportunity to say, look, this is why we ask you not to race. We're just going to work together here. And they're cute kids, they understand, and they become good practice partners. One of the other things, just because you're all involved, you all are involved with kids and the good things you do for our community. Another thing we do is, in our sport in particular, if you look at the difference between tennis versus another sport, we make line calls. It's either in or it's out. Kids want to win so badly. They don't want to lose that point. It is nearly, I would say more than half of our kids make the wrong call initially and then look to see, how was that? Do I have permission? Do I have permission to call that out? This morning, it happened this morning again, it happens nearly every day. We want to send the right message. It's process before outcome. If you do it the right way, and you're honest, you show integrity, you're not only going to be doing the right thing, but down the road, you'll have the respect of others and the admiration of others. There was a quote, throughout the year I give quotes of the week, and one of my favorites was a Mark Twain quote. It was usually about tennis players, some athletes, and sometimes it's just something else. Always do right. This will gratify some and astonish the rest. Right? So it's very difficult for a young kid who wants to do well, wants to please mom and dad and their peers and their coach, want to do well. Oh, I'm pretty sure that ball was out. I'm going to call that out. Take a look. Make the right call. Do the right thing. Show integrity. And you can get a reputation. I've been through this long enough that at every level you can get a reputation of being an honest competitor, having the respect of others, or the opposite. And that's a difficult thing to break once you get caught in that. because we do make our own line calls. There's no official out there doing it. Now we can get an official to come over and kind of monitor. If they make the big time, like we see on TV, yes, they're calling lines. We even have equipment. The Hawkeye now, after the point's over, let's check that. So electronically, we're checking line calls. So I think this is an important tool in our sport to be able to use. Lastly, as far as messages we give our kids, just so you get an idea of what it's like with our tennis players coming through. Every single day, I'm encouraging kids to make good mistakes. Not to put the ball in, make good mistakes. If you make good mistakes, that's the best way to learn and improve. Now you can make the wrong mistakes, and you can learn what not to do, but maybe you're not improving. And we stress that every single day. In our sport, for example, we play in a net, we have some lines, you gotta get it over that net, you gotta beat that net first before you can beat that opponent. If you're missing long, you miss that ball deep past that baseline, that's a relatively easy thing to fix. But you keep missing that ball in the net, you're just gonna get more and more frustrated. So another message we give them, frustration, that's natural. We're all gonna be frustrated with things. Whether it's playing tennis, in school, with friends, growing up in adult life and working world. All that is fine, but frustration needs to be turned into determination. And once you do that, you are living that process versus that outcome. Outcomes tend to take care of themselves properly. So with our programs, we have, I mentioned drill clinics. We have drill clinics we run every day. It's different in the summer than it is during the winter time. So if you have somebody that is interested in getting into our sport, we have great programs for this. And the summertime is really one of the best times to do it because you can pick the weeks you want to do it. 1 week, 1 session. School year, it changes a little bit. We run 7, 8, 9 weeks for a session. In the winter time, we'll fill up. We'll have a waiting list. A lot of kids. We have 6 indoor courts. There are times when we'll use those courts. Sunday afternoons, evenings are very busy. But in the summer, a lot of options, a lot of opportunities. Kids are everywhere. Families are, getting away on a vacation or what have you. So we run it by the weeks. So I would encourage you, spread the good word. There's a lot of tennis to be played over there, and in the summertime, kids can come over and and play for a week and try it out. If they have some fun, they feel success, we know they're going to come back. If you have any questions, just ask. If you have any questions, anybody so far? Yes, sir.
It seems to me that a 9 or 10-year-old child starts having the first time, they participating with other children that age and have been in the program for a while. They're going to feel rather intimidated after that.
Absolutely. Great question. So there are a couple ways we work with that. We have 2 different groups. So there's basically, we call it sport players. They're just looking for another sport to play. They tried this, they tried that. They're going to try tennis. That may be a program that we can put them into where they're not with those tournament players. Okay, so that's one thing. However, the younger kids, like a 7, 8-year-old, we don't have a lot of tournament players at 7 and 8. Believe it or not, a few of them are ready for tournaments, but we don't have many. So to answer your question, really what we do is we have 2. Let's say we can take up to 6 kids per court. The youngest kids, we have equipment and nets that are scaled down smaller. 10 and under tennis program, our association, United States Tennis Association, has come up with smaller nets that we put the other way. So instead of playing across the full court, they're playing across the court with smaller nets, smaller rackets, lower bouncing balls. Those kids that have never played before, now they can find success, where they couldn't before across that net. I saw more baseball played back in the day, just hitting that ball as hard as they could than I did tennis. So this is another thing that we do. We may be playing the kids who have just started on one court, play the other kids on the other court, separate buildings. There's a couple ways we handle that. That's a great question, and we deal with that all the time. Yes, sir.
Thinking back to your days in collegiate coaching, are there certain areas of the country that are particularly strong in tennis and that you recruit from?
Yes, absolutely. When I'm recruiting college players, and you've heard the term blue chip, and we have the stars, everybody's rated and everybody's ranked, and you can look at those, but you really need to get out and see them. I traveled a lot of this country to see players. Nowadays, it's more international in our sport. At the highest level, it's more international than it is across this country. But here in the United States, the names like Nick Bollettieri, Bradenton, Florida. Vic Braden, who passed away last year. Joe Braden is our tennis manager. That's his family. So Vic Braden is one of the greatest teachers to come through Southern California, where the sun's shining all year. Florida, Texas, California, the South. That's where most of the tennis talent comes from. That doesn't mean that tennis talent doesn't happen here. We recruit everywhere. I recruited first out of the Midwest. Why? I want to know what I'm getting. Small circles. You get in tennis circles, like in our community here. We all know. I see some familiar faces. Many of you I don't know, but I'll bet we know someone in our community who knows what you're about, what I'm about. And when we're recruiting, that's important because we're not just recruiting we shouldn't be recruiting just a tennis player. We want to be recruiting the student athlete and the kind of person, competitor, that is going to have success at Purdue University. I recruited a lot of players out of Texas. For some reason, a lot of the Texan tennis players felt like Purdue was like Ivy League out east. Don't know why that is. We just let them think that. That's fine. It's a great university. We all know that. But in other places, it's very different. If you recruit out of the east, they think very differently. Purdue's that agriculture university out west. It's just all perspective. So yes, where the sun is shining most is where most of the tennis talent is. In our sport also, tennis academies are everywhere. And there's good and bad in this. They are focused. They do produce talent. What I see though is on the downside, most of them then become homeschooled or online schooled, and it's all about tennis first, and then we kind of fill in the education. That's not what we're about at Purdue. That's not what we're about in this community. But that's what goes on a lot in the South. Yeah, a lot. And you need to sort through that. When you're recruiting, you need to be able to sort through that and know who's just hitting tennis balls out there. You can develop tennis talent, very technical skill. Some of these little kids look so good, and they can strike the ball so well. But are they learning to compete? Are they learning to be team leaders? That's what we need to find out. Good question. Yes?
When you recruit for college, what kind of scholarship dollars are available for tennis players?
Yep, absolutely. So we're called Olympic sports or non-revenue sports. You have 80 football scholarships without one female scholarship going to an athlete. So whether you're a diver, tennis player, golfer, whatever it is, those 80 scholarships need to be made up on the women's side with other sports. So when we added women's soccer, as a varsity sport, we didn't add men's soccer. We needed more scholarship opportunity, more participation opportunity. Tennis has quite a disparity. Small sport, we generally carry 10 or 12 on the team. 6 positions play. You play in college tennis, you go out and watch a match, you're going to see 3 doubles matches, you're going to see 6 singles matches. The scholarships go to the women's side, 8 scholarships. Full ride or nothing. So a couple walk-ons, 8 scholarships go to women's tennis players. On the men's side, 4.5. And they can be split up any percentage we want. So you can give a full scholarship. It's rare that happens. Most men, and like myself in the 80s, when I played, I became a national level tennis player. I wanted to pursue this. University of Wisconsin, Purdue actually, there were small offers, 40, 50%. But it makes a big deal when you want to be able to pick and choose which university you want to play for and get a degree at. So that's our sport. Each sport is a little different. Those 80 scholarships are made up on the women's side with other sports, whether it's soccer, more tennis, more swimming and diving, or what have you. Okay?
Is there a place for people to see? I mean, can people come and watch?
Yeah, thank you. More about our facility. So when we built this, I told you we have 6 indoor, 12 outdoor courts. If you want to come and watch a college match, Denny Schwartz was good enough. I'll give you some dollars here. I told you $7 million is what we spent to build the place. $3.5 million is what we started with from Denny Schwartz. And like everything else, when it takes more time and you finally get to where, okay, it's time to build, how much is this really going to cost us? It was a bit more. And one of the things that was going to be cut out was the viewing for spectators and families. So what we did was, he decided, you need another 0.4 million? Okay. To me, it's 0.4. To him, 0.4 million. Okay, so $400,000. We have a mezzanine level, and we have the bleachers up above where you can view. It's the best viewing for a college or for youth program as well. We put up above. Some of you have been to the tennis center. You'll know we call them Bistro Tables. So we have tables set up above. I see parents have their kids in programs. They're up with a laptop or just sitting down having a drink or something up above. Or they could be in the bleachers. They could be right on the railing watching. For college matches, it's a great view. You're right up above. Everybody has a front row seat. So it's really a great place. For the teams, we have team lounges, team locker rooms. It's set up very well. When we built this 7 years ago, it was, I'll be honest, it was catching up with the rest of the conference. But instead of just doing an okay job, we did a fantastic job. And so now years later, here I am, you can tell I'm still proud of this place, and I'm proud of really my work home that I can go to every day. Not to mention, when it gets really hot in July, and I'm on the court 8 in the morning until 6, maybe 9 o'clock at night sometimes. It's nice to get out of that sun and that heat, so I can get in that great building and have a great home. So that's so yes, we have great viewing, amenities for the teams. The courts themselves will be resurfaced in August. Between the end of our summer programs and the beginning of school is a little downtime, so we're going to use that to resurface the courts, make it like new. Anything else? Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
You used to see grass courts, asphalt courts, concrete courts. What's the standard now?
I'm glad you asked that. I told you, when I grew up, this is why, I really think this is why I can appreciate some things our kids take for granted. I mean, we live in a community, and Purdue University brings in a lot of people. If they choose tennis, a lot of times their economic abilities, they can do what they want to do. They can get their kids in the programs they want to do. There are many kids who can't do that year-round and become top tournament players necessarily, training. Not every kid has to be a top tournament player. I grew up in a town that had 2 blacktop courts. Back in that day, this is when it was just changing, all white tennis balls, no optic yellow. Those white tennis balls turned black in minutes on that blacktop court. Since then, everything has gone to a hard court surface. It's a synthetic surface, very hard court, a little bit of sand in the mix. If you come out and you see our courts, it used to be everything was green. The yellow ball contrasts the green. But then they decided, the US Open is blue. Blue and purple actually contrast that yellow ball better than the rest. So it's all about visibility. And then marketing. It looks good out there. So we have tennis courts, hard surface, which is what we play predominantly in this country. If you go to Europe, you go to South America, the players grow up on clay courts. If you watch the French Open right now that's finishing up, red clay, it's the real thing. Dirt. We have a synthetic called hard true. There are places in this country where you can play. I'll bet someone in this room remembers the clay courts in our community. It's before I came here 20 years ago. But we did have clay courts here. And I understand they're close to where the ice rink is now. Does anybody remember this? No? Where the ice rink is now, there were some clay courts there. Gone a long time ago. Grass courts are best. When I watch Wimbledon, I see grass. I don't see it any other time. We do have it. I played on grass in Philadelphia. There's some grass courts in the east. Fairly exclusive clubs only. Takes a lot of care and maintenance. I think they're just holding on to tradition. Mostly it's hard work though. Very good.
Great program.
And, as a special thank you, here's a Kiwanis light to, maybe we'll need it at the graduation party.
That's right. That's right. We get to share, our kids get to share graduation. We've had, this is what we talk about at home, our kids, right? And we have had, both of our kids went through Harrison High School, but whichever school it is, I mean, our community, we're so lucky to have this community.
Yeah.
And the work you do is, it's a credit to all of you. So thank you as well. Glad to be here.
Good job.
Program, we will stay in the realm of sports, and actually another person very close to me, my sister, will be here next week. She works for the NCAA in Indianapolis, and will be here to tell us a little bit about the playing rules process. So.